This is a movie.
Oh, yeah.
This is a movie. This movie has everything. I enjoyed this movie so much. There's so much I want to talk about.
All right.
I don't want to spoil anything because there's a lot of surprises in this movie.
Yeah.
But for people who haven't seen this, what is I Love Boosters?
Well, boosters are folks that shoplift and sell at a discount price. So it's something that, as a broke rapper for many decades, I've definitely had to have around me in order to stay fly, because staying fly is part of the job requirement.
Yeah.
So, and so I wanted to write about stuff from the perspective of these folks that kind of hold the community together, right? We have, fashion is the big fashion houses are inspired by stuff from the street, by black communities, by people of color, things like that. But those communities can't afford it, right? So this was a way to talk about fashion that I hadn't seen talked about before.
It talks about fashion. I mean, this movie talks about fashion, talks about capitalism. It's super funny. This feels like sort of a Pee-wee's Big Adventure, as if it were directed by Karl Marx, with a bunch of Molly in the background.
With Looney Tunes.
With some Looney Tunes energy. Honestly, like the playfulness and the sketch element of this, I thought was so refreshing and vivid. I'm curious, also knowing that I Love Boosters was a song 20 years ago that you wrote, and now it is a movie. I'm wondering, in taking so many genres, so many ideas, like sort of what is an order of operations for how Boots Riley gets to a film, I Love Boosters? I'm
thinking about feelings. I want to make a visceral impact. I want that to lead to action afterward, right? Like the movie isn't over when the movie's over. The movie, to me, lives on with what it makes you want to do in your life, right? So I'm thinking about stuff from the personal level, what's around my character's world, and how that is connected to the larger world. And to me, a lot of my stuff is comedy and also absurdist, and all of that is about contradictions, and that's what we're living with. And tragedy and comedy, they both have irony in them, and those contradictions, pointing those out, that's basically what we do when we're talking about politics. I'm telling you, I mean, that's what y'all do here, right?
Yeah.
So,
although I find it so fascinating here, like you talk about, you start with trying to figure out what you want the audience to do, and is that beyond just like the emotion that you want them to feel?
Well, the emotion is the way in. From doing music for so many years, and I got known as a lyricist. You could have just the rawest lyrics ever, and besides like the lyric nerds, most people are going to be like, yeah, but what does the beat sound like? Right? What is the beat? Yeah, can I dance to this? Am I nodding my head? What's going on? And it's that visceral feeling, and to me, it's all, that's what art is connected to, being in the moment. But what is the moment, and what are we hiding right here, right? So all the art that I've ever made is about trying to help people find the tools to change the world around them. And right now, what we need to change the world around us is a mass, militant, radical labor movement. One that uses the withholding of labor as a tactic and strategy to be able to have policy change. We have a world in which you have the U.S. and Israel saying, how dare you say that we're committing genocide, and they are, while then the next day saying, F that, we're about to commit genocide on some other tomorrow, right? And they can do that and just play in our face because they know we feel powerless. And that feeling of powerlessness is a material one. It's real. Until we have that kind of movement where we can shut down profit, where we can do the things that we that affect power, then we're going to be powerless. And so I just write with my opinions in there, but my opinions are also funny, right? because it has to do with these things. And what I'm thinking is not very far off from what most people think in the world. It's just sometimes class struggle is edited out of film.
Well, I feel it is amazing watching you make this film and the skills you have to get messages like that across in such digestible, interesting, and also complex way is remarkable. But how do you have a film that critiques the capitalistic system, but also has to exist within the capitalistic system, making a big movie that you want to be seen by a lot of people, that is taking aim at capitalism? How do you balance working within that to critique it?
There's no such thing as outside of capitalism, right? So if I'm gonna work, I'm working inside of capitalism. Everything, some small independent company, some big company, they're all part of capitalism. And my goal is not just to get myself outside of capitalism, it's to have the working class overthrow the ruling class, right? And get to a system in which the people democratically control the wealth that we create with our labor. So, so if we don't have that, I'm not like, oh, okay, let me work with the nicer capitalist, the guy with the friendlier smile. It's about helping to make that movement happen, because we can't do anything unless we have that as a backup.
Now, you've taken this film out to colleges in the last couple weeks, right? I assume part of that is to have a conversation with younger, thoughtful, energetic people. And I'm curious if that was the intent, and also what some of the responses you've gotten in trying to start this conversation.
Some of that is the intent, but also colleges have budgets to bring the film out there, so it's extra promotion. But because we also invited whoever else was around in the community, and we used that as the jump-off point. But it's been we did community screenings as well that were outside of the colleges, but it's been raucous. It's been like people are laughing through the whole thing, and like sometimes laughing over certain lines, and that's good because they got to come back and see it again. It's been. I've watched it 35 times since we premiered it at South by. I've watched it with the crowd 35 times since then, and it hasn't got old to me yet. Mainly because of the audience.
What have you been surprised by? That wasn't necessarily your initial intent, but now you're seeing it in front of an audience and now they're responding. Is there anything that caught your eye?
I mean, a lot of stuff I'm like patting myself on the back like, yeah, I knew that. But there's a lot of little things, like there's a part where Lakeith Stanfield's character pops up on a phone, and it's just a little thing, and I thought it would cause a smile, but it causes people to break out laughing. Things like that you find, but I don't really have anything that without seeing it you'd understand what that was.
The collaboration, the music in it is great.
Yeah.
And as a musician, you work with tune yards. What is that process like overseeing? You work with tune yards in your other...
So I've worked with tune yards for the score on Sorry to Bother You, and for the score on I'm a Virgo, and I start sending them pages when I'm 20 pages in. Yeah. And start talking about this. And for this one, I was originally very inspired by deep cut Emir Kusturica's Black Cat, White Cat, and the score to that. And so we were talking about that. But as I'm writing, they're making score pieces. A lot of the score is demos that they made while I was writing the script. So it's really good because then we'll use those pieces while we're shooting, all that sort of stuff. Separately, so that's the score, but there's a soundtrack that Keke Palmer has out on it, and it's a bunch of songs that my daughter wrote with her.
Is that right?
Yeah, and so there's a 5-song EP soundtrack that's out for that now, and the Tune Yard score comes out on the same day as the release of the movie.
I'm curious, as somebody who has found a way into the system to articulate true political beliefs that you have. I talk to a lot of young people who want to get to a place like that and don't necessarily see a path for that. Like, do you have advice for people who hear stories like yours, somebody who is so attached to a movement and being able to articulate?
Well, one, I came out of a disciplined party. I was in a disciplined organization, and I came into doing art. because I have this passion. So one thing I'd say for any artist is to have something you're more passionate about than the art itself. Because, you know, if the main thing you're passionate about is making art, then that's going to be like talking to someone who's passionate about talking. You want to get out of that convo real quick. And so with that, that's guided me. But it has also, you know, it has not been working there were a lot of times when it has not been working, but I'm staying in it to do it because I was seeing slight payoffs that weren't in money or weren't in things that were easily able to be registered, but people talking about how the music affected them. And then with Sorry to Bother You, you know, people messaging me saying how it made them get involved with things and how it made them get involved with unions and strikes and things like that. So, and it should be said, from 2020 to 2024, we had the largest strike wave that there had been in the United States since the 70s. Thousands of strikes all over the place, and it was largely underreported. And during that time, that's when I got messages from people being like, "Oh, we didn't think our workplace was going to go on strike. We didn't think our, or form a union, but we played Sorry to Bother You, and everybody voted for it, right?" So the advice is have something you're more passionate about than making your art, as a reason to make your art. Secondly, realize nobody knows what the they're doing. We're all trying to figure it out. The answer to most of your questions to me is really I don't know, right?
Oh, Jesus, why did you just say that, Boots? It'd be so much easier for the editors to put together, you know?
And we're all here trying to make it, and especially in your art practice, you got to figure that out. And for me, I've had a lot of iterations of figuring out things. A lot of what I'm doing here on this movie is, I think, pushing cinema in a certain way, because it's not, in order to make you even care about it, I realized I have to be an artist. It took me a while to admit that I was an artist, and for me, I want to see something new. I want to see it do something new, and there's so many moments in here where I and the audience is like, I've never seen anything like that before. So for me, I have to keep being inventive to be, because I want to be in the moment, talk about the contradictions that exist right now, and talk about what we can do about it.
Well, it is a remarkable film, and I truly have never seen anything like it before.
Thank you so much.
I love boosters.
And I want to say, look, May 22nd, we're going to be in 2,500 screens across the U.S. That means it's a make it or break it. If you see the trailer and decide you want to see it, I need you to go there May 22nd. If you see the movie and like it, I need you to tell people about it, because we need movies like this to get out there.
I love it. May 22nd, I love boosters. Boots Riley.